Hello, good evening, and welcome into State of the Tigers here on PowerMizzou.com. It is not Monday night, it is Tuesday night. We back this up one night for a couple of different reasons. College football playoff rankings out tonight. We're going to let you get all your anger out about those with Cody Goodwin here in about 30 minutes. We're going to start, though, with Drew King talking Mizzou basketball for the first half of the show. We'll get to that in just a second, but want to remind you, as we always do at the beginning of the show, that I want you to call my insurance agent. That is James Carlton at State Farm Insurance in Webster Groves, Missouri. If you live in Kansas, Missouri, or Illinois, he can take care of your insurance needs. You can get in touch with James at 314-961-4800. I have heard on a radio show that James also sponsors that he has like 400 five-star reviews on Google. That seems like a lot to me. It's a lot more than anyone affiliated with this show or this website have. So get in touch with James. Again, carltoninsurance.net, 314-961-4800 is the number. While you're here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share what we're doing with everybody. A lot going on the channel. If you subscribe, you are going to get notifications when we go live. We were here for about 2 hours last night with a couple different shows. Here again tonight. Have the Opponent podcast tomorrow, and of course the post-game show on Saturday night with Cody and I. So without further ado, from the green room, fresh from Washington, D.C., the legendary Drew King. Here is how much Drew King likes you guys. He had adventures across the country between Columbia, Missouri, and our nation's capital the last couple of days. Drew, let's get to it, man. What was your, you got to pick one. What's the favorite mishap that happened on this trip from Columbia to DC and back?
Let's get to it, Gabe. Hang on.
Yeah. Support the sponsor. So we appreciate that. Also pouring it all over your branded sweatshirt. But that's
yeah. Shout out to Yingling though. Where do you want me to start? Like, I got home 45
I just want you to pick, like, if you could only tell people one story about what happened while you were gone, pick the story.
Well,
we'll get to the rest of them, but I want the best one.
I thought today was a little bit crazy. I got to the airport, everything's going smooth, right? Ate a Five Guys burger, got on the plane. It was a little crowded in the back of the plane in the cheap seats. And so the flight attendant was like, hey, listen, we got some open rows. How about you move to one of those and you can put your bag up in the storage area? And I was like, oh, that sounds great. Got a row to myself. And so everybody's in, we're buckled up. The flight attendants do their safety demonstration. And then they go sit down. We're ready to go. The pilot comes on. He's like, folks, just to give you a heads up, we are being told not to leave the gate yet. There seems to be a security issue. We did not take off for another 2 hours. And it was because somebody called in a bomb threat on an arriving plane.
Ooh.
And
I didn't know that part of the story.
Yeah, I found out while I was on the plane. It was not my plane, but it was a plane that had come into Washington, D.C. They had to go out to a remote runway. They brought law enforcement out. They brought out the air staircase, had to evacuate the plane, had to sweep the plane. All the planes that were supposed to land at that time had to just kind of hang around in the air. And then there's also like a backlog of planes trying to take off once everything did get the all clear. So, yeah, that was...
Well, I mean, look, everything seems to be going very smoothly with air travel these days. I am shocked that there was any issue. So that was Drew's favorite story. I'm going to tell my favorite story about this trip, picture form, real quick. This is my favorite part of the trip. One of our subscribers took this of it legitimately looks like the Howard Bison is watching you work or supervising your work.
I think it was.
Like, look, guys, we're not, I mean, we're kind of whiners. I'm not going to lie. The media is kind of whiners, but like, we don't ask a lot. But a folding chair on the baseline is not an appropriate place to have to sit and cover a basketball game.
Well, so here's the story behind that. And I don't want to sound bitter at all. Like, I'm very appreciative for Howard getting me in the gym, right? Getting me a credential. The SID was very nice, but I do think he was stretched pretty thin. They had a lot of student workers helping
They're
out.
not used to having people at their games.
Correct. Absolutely. And so I got to the arena early, and I was like, hey, where do I pick up my credential? He was like, will call doesn't open until an hour before the game. And I was there 2 hours early. So I had to just kind of hang out in the athletics office for an hour. And then got up to the media will call. They didn't have a list of names of the media that was attending. So we had to wait a little bit longer. Then they got the list and they were like, all right, we checked you off. I was like, do I like need a credential, like a necklace or a wristband or anything? And they're like, oh, we don't have those yet. Hang on. So then they had to go get the wristbands. Finally, I get the wristband. I walk in and I'm looking for like the media section. I don't really see one. And so I text the SID. I was like, hey, where am I supposed to sit?
Right.
He goes, well, you can sit anywhere across from the main scorer's table, but it's first come, first serve. And I look up from my phone and I look over and it's radio row. Like there are no open seats
Like
over
Kelly
there.
and Gervino and all those. That.
Correct. I said, okay, so what do I do now? He's like, well, you're welcome to sit anywhere in the stands. My issue was like, I got to have my laptop charger plugged in. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to cover the game. And there's no outlets up in the stands. So I had to improvise. And I'm looking around the court and I see like there's just 2 chairs leaning up against the wall next to Howard's bench. I figure they're extras. So I just go and grab the worser one of the 2, the one that wasn't padded. Mm-hmm. And I just take a spot on the baseline there. Howard's trainer walks by and he looks in the corner and he goes, did you take one of those chairs? I was like, yeah, I did. I can give it back if you really need it. He's like, oh, no, don't worry. I can go get another chair. I said, okay, great.
The one thing they did have was extra chairs.
Yes. But, you know, I had to ask for forgiveness, not for permission.
Yeah. Bran Flakes cereal brings up a good point. The 16-ounce Yinglings are the new party poppers, by the way.
Well, I got a regular party popper too.
Oh, okay.
I came prepared.
I liked your first one better. Okay, so I promise we're going to talk real basketball, but we got to do one more thing on the trip. And Scott Fitz, thanks for the super chat. And the most exciting part of the trip was the travel. I think that's actually probably true, and we'll talk about the game here in a little bit. But so it was, I'm going to guess about 10 o'clock, probably about 11 o'clock where Drew was. We had finished up the post-game show, and he was getting back to the hotel to write. And he texted me that, you know, what was it, Hampton Inn, something like that?
I'm sorry, say that again.
The hotel, Hampton Inn or some sort of Hilton.
In St. Louis or in DC?
No, in DC. In
DC, it was the Homewood Suites. Yeah.
Homewood Suites. Okay. So, you know, not top of the line, but they're generally fine.
Yeah.
They're generally fine. And so Drew texts me when he gets back to the hotel about the sad mini mart that sold Gatorade and water for $6. And Drew has not eaten in 8 hours. And so Drew DoorDash, I don't know if it's DoorDash, but whatever.
It was Grubhub, yeah.
Grubhub, McDonald's. And Drew, just like as quickly as you can, because I felt bad doing it, but I laughed out loud when you texted me about this last night. Just describe to the people what happened to your first meal in 10 hours.
Okay, so it said that my courier was arriving with the food. I walk outside the lobby and I see somebody approaching me on a bicycle, which I didn't know it was going to be on a bike. Right. And the guy hands me the bag. He's like, you probably want to check that. And so I open the bag and it looks like everything's in there. I was like, I think we're squared away. He's like, no, man, I'm trying to think of how did he say this? He's like, anyway, he fell off his bike. He's like, I ate dust back there. that drink definitely exploded. And so I turn on the flashlight on my phone, and there's like a puddle of Dr. Pepper in the bottom. And I was like, all right, man, thanks.
So hang on, I gotta ask, was like if he's on a bike, did he have the drink in the bag with the rest of the food?
Yes, he did. He had like a little like cardboard cup holder in there with the bag of food. And so, yeah, like the food is just sitting in a pool of Dr. Pepper at the bottom. Um, like the soggiest nuggets of all time. The fries were mostly dry, like they didn't
Yeah.
get completely soaked. So, but they were cold, and so that was my dinner last night. Was some fries that had been dunked in Dr. Pepper.
And let's be clear, man. As I pointed out during this text exchange last night, let's just take a minute. I mean, this guy's riding his bike delivering Grubhub. Like I hope he's having a good day. I hope he's like that's rough. I feel bad for him falling on his bike.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. So somebody said this needs to be a long form story. It will. Don't worry. Drew is going to write about it in his column on Thursday. We are going to let's see. Okay, how would you rate bicycle Grubhub delivery driver on the hot crazy scale? I have started it. I'm surprised I wasn't asked to compare it to a Mean Girls character. I've started a bad thing here on the site. Okay, so in all seriousness, though, after all of that, Drew actually did get home. He covered a basketball game. That seems like a long time ago. It does not seem like just 24 hours ago that game ended.
Yeah, no, I've been away from home for 2 days. It feels like 2 months. Like I don't recognize the place.
MCB KC81 would not have told you if he was the delivery driver. He would have just handed you the soaking wet food and driven off. Oh, that would have been
Appreciate that,
maddening.
MCB.
The only way that story would have been better, 100%, is if you just get in the lobby and open it up and there's a puddle of Dr. Pepper in the bag of food.
Yeah, no, that would have made my night, I think.
Yeah. So, but they played basketball. And
They did play basketball.
It was fine.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Kind of like I said after the game, like they got out of it what they wanted to. I thought it was a pretty good game from Sean Phillips, Jaden Stone. I did want to bring something up though, Gabe. If you had to guess, who had the best plus minus in that game?
I'm going to say, because you're asking, I'm going to say Luke Northweather.
Okay. It was not Luke Northweather. It was actually Anthony Robinson. And
flawed stat.
Flawed stat for sure. But we've been talking about how his biggest thing is he has to stay on the floor. He can't get into foul trouble. He didn't really get into foul trouble last night. He had 4 fouls, but he played 28 minutes, and those minutes were productive for Mizzou. So not his best night, but that is kind of what you want to see from him is to be out there for that amount of time every game.
I know, like free throws. Look, I'm not super worried. This team will 10 of 21 is not going to happen to this team on the free throw line very often. I don't think. You're looking at me like maybe I should be worried. I don't think it's a huge concern, but like with Ant, the free throw thing is so emblematic of his game to me. When something goes wrong, like what you want to see out of Ant, okay, miss the first free throw, cool, you can still make the next 6, right? You don't have to go 2 for 5 once you miss the first one, or get the first foul, it's fine. Don't get the second one. Like, I want to see him have something go wrong at the start and then overcome it and play really well, because I feel like that's what we don't see from him. Like, if his first shot goes in, look out. He could score 30 and be the best player on the floor, like he was against Kansas State. If the first thing to happen doesn't go particularly well, man, it could be a long night. And if this team if Ant Robinson has a long night, like, not for a month, because they don't play anybody any good for a month, but down the road, they will lose games if he's not good.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I feel like maybe some of that is just first game jitters. He wants to perform well. He knows the expectations that are on him right now. But that has been something throughout his career so far where like if stuff doesn't go super well early on, it does get to his head a little bit. The free throws do get to his head a little bit. So yeah, you want to see him grow out of it now that he's an upperclassman. He'll get more opportunities to do that.
Okay, so we've got some stuff in the chat that let's go ahead and just address these kind of one by one. STLMIZ says Javon Porter looked way better than I anticipated. Here's what I liked about Javon Porter. He only took 4 shots. He made a couple of them, all good, played within himself. I thought the exhibition against Kansas State, he clearly was like, I need to prove that I belong here in my first game back home. Like, I just thought that was kind of a nervous trying to do too much night.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll tell you what I liked about Javon Porter. It was that he pulled down 4 offensive rebounds. Like, that's a part of his game that people don't talk a lot about, but he's been a pretty good rebounder throughout his career so far. So if he's able to do that, absolutely, like put him in the rotation, give him consistent minutes like that. So yeah, I don't know about better than expected, but that's about what I expect out of Javon Porter's. Like, if you're going to be out there 28 minutes, go get 6 rebounds.
Yeah, knock down a couple shots, get 6 rebounds. T-Rise not feeling optimistic about Mac. So what's your Sebastian Mac take?
Yeah, I wasn't super impressed by him either. I still think he's one of their better defenders on the perimeter. I think that he's gonna take some time to find his way in the offense, and I know that was kind of one of the marks against him coming in from UCLA was his shot selection wasn't great. He seemed like he didn't always know where to go with the ball when he had it. So I think that's something that will be continuing to that they'll still work on throughout this next month. But if it doesn't happen at some point, then like once you get into the games of consequence with Notre Dame and Kansas, like I think that's when you got to start talking about maybe we look at a different option in the starting lineup. So I'm not ready to throw in the towel in on him yet, but yeah, I haven't been blown away by him in these first 2 games.
Yeah, calling the shot selection not great last night is incredibly kind. Like, you are way nicer than I am as a general rule. That is not the way I would. It was awful last night. Look, I'll just say bluntly, Sebastian Mack has to learn how to pass the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's what it reminded me of last night. It reminded me of how many times on Press Row in the middle of the 0-19 season did I look at you and say, I'm sorry, but watching Sean East play basketball drives me insane. Like,
I think that was twice a night.
He dribbled so many times. Like, he set an NCAA record for the number of times dribbled that season. Now, I will at least cut Sean East this amount of slack. Number 1, the shots went in. Number 2, who the hell else was going to do anything on that team? Mm-hmm. Like, he kind of had to do it. This team has other options. Sebastian Mack seems to me like a guy that to be good kind of needs to have the ball. And that I think he's got to find other ways to be good.
Yeah. I agree with that. I do think there's a world where he's like the next DeAndre Golston. And he's going to have games where he bails them out of possessions that go nowhere, and everybody's going to hate him for most of the year.
He can't think, like Drake Golston had this too. He thought he could do it every possession all of a sudden. Like if Drake Golston made 2, he was going to do it 19 times in a row.
Yes, that's true.
And I love Drake Golston. Like, great dude. Loved watching him play, but that's a fact.
Yeah, but so I think that's kind of what we're dealing with here is just he's got to learn how to play within the flow of the offense rather than hero ball. It's something that, Jacob Cruz kind of struggled with last year, something that Drake Golston obviously struggled with. But those type of players are still helpful. I just don't know that that's the guy that you want in the starting lineup long term if it doesn't change.
Yeah, I was hoping to see Mark's jumper look smoother, but he's still wearing a backpack when he shoots. I've never heard it described that way. Like, look, this is Mark Mitchell's fourth year in college. The Kobe Brown outside shot leap is not going to happen. I don't think for Mark Mitchell.
Yeah, I would be surprised if that was the case. Like, he might be lucky to shoot 30% this season, but yeah, like I think that's kind of the ceiling there.
Or like, is there any level of concern at all that they've played 2 games and he's just kind of like, I understand he didn't play a lot in the first one, but he didn't do a lot. That was as rough as I've seen Mark look last night. Like, is that a concern for you, or is that hey, it's a one-off, don't worry about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that teams are sort of loading up on him. Most of last year, he was the only guy who was much of an inside threat, right? They usually had Pierce and Ant and then Grill and Bates around him, right? 4 shooters that could space the floor. He's having to learn how to play with Sean Phillips right now and a more clogged paint. I think that that's kind of affected him a little bit, and it's going to take an adjustment out of him. But I still have really high expectations for him for the season. Like, these last 2 games haven't been great for him, but like he still shot 4 of 6 last night. You don't hate that kind of efficiency. He still had a decent game, rebounding the ball, had a steal. So he can do better, obviously. But I'm not super concerned on. No.
Yeah. Drew Locke in the chat. Drew, appreciate it, man. Hope the Seahawks do well this week.
My fellow Drew.
What's more likely? Cruz hits 103 or Luke Northweather is the 6th man?
Good question.
I mean, so he made 2 last night. So he needs 98 in, we're going to say, what, 34 games?
Correct.
He's just got to average 3 the rest of the year.
Yeah.
It's not actually that impossible. Like, I don't think he should shoot enough to make 100, but I think that's far more likely than Luke Northweather actually being the 6th man on this team.
Man, I didn't even realize Jacob Cruz had 10 points in 12 minutes. That's kind of crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's more likely than Luke Northweather being the 6th man. I think Luke's minutes will go down once some guys get healthy. Yeah. But 12 minutes for Jacob Cruz, I didn't realize it was that low.
Yeah, he didn't play much, which is just, hey, man, he's old. He's like 32. You know, you got to rest him they play 3 more games in the next 8 days. T-Rise, since Gates will let us know Pierce is out for the year 3 minutes before the game Friday, there will be a lot of Porter. Let me stop you there. He 100% will not let us know Trent Pierce is out for the year. Trent Pierce could be out for the year, and what he will do is let us know 2 hours before every game that Trent Pierce is not playing that night. He told you last night he expects Trent Pierce to play Friday. I talked to somebody today who said, like, Honor Boateng is purely precautionary, not a concern at all. I'm not going to say he's going to play Friday because I have no idea how Dennis Gates is going to decide on Friday. Somebody's not going to play. It could be Honor Boateng. It could be somebody else, but neither of these things are considered like long-term concerns at all.
Yeah. Like when I got to the arena yesterday and I saw Honor, like there weren't no casts. There wasn't a wrap of any kind. He wasn't on crutches. He was walking. He wasn't limping. I think he's going to be okay. That's just my read of it. That's nothing official, but I wouldn't be overly concerned about Honor Boateng.
Yeah. Yeah. So, look, I looked at KenPom today because I wanted to see if Missouri suddenly rose 15 spots by beating Howard. They did not. They're exactly the same. But so December 9th is the Kansas game, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what the lowest percentage chance that Missouri has to win a game between now and then is?
Lowest percent chance?
Yeah.
It's got to be in the 90s, right?
It's 81 against Minnesota.
Okay. Oh.
Do you know what the second lowest percentage chance they have between now and I guess now and Notre Dame?
Between now and Notre Dame, the second lowest, probably 97, I'll say.
98. 98 or 99% chance. What are we doing, man? Like, what are we doing?
I guess we're playing in games where we don't have to worry if Honor Boateng can play or not. I think
I
that's really
guess,
all it
man.
is.
I guess. So Friday night against SEMO. We'll go live after that one because it's the home opener. Sunday against VMI. Is that right? I know VMI is the third game. Yeah.
Sunday VMI, Wednesday Minnesota.
Minnesota on Wednesday. So Drew will be at all of those. We're gonna go. We're briefly gonna go 3-man booth here because I gotta ask Cody. Cody, have you ever for dinner taken chicken McNuggets and fries and dumped Dr. Pepper over them and then eaten them?
He's muted.
Cody, I cannot hear you.
Testing.
Now I can hear you.
No, I don't think I have ever done that before as like a dinner option. When I'm on the road, man, I look for like easy options, was just to say Chipotle. Like, where is the nearest Chipotle?
Well,
see,
yes. Drew was 11 o'clock in a hotel in DC. That was the easiest option. Was I'm going to have this guy ride his bike to bring me some McNuggets.
Drew, please tell me that you're going to do like a travel diary of like all of your food mishaps and other travel like miscues and stuff like that.
Coming Thursday. Actually, on that note, Cody, I have a question for you. Were you the one that called in the bomb threat on the Washington, D.C. airport today that delayed my flight?
Please, God, if you were, do not say yes on our YouTube channel.
I can tell you I was not. I was a little busy today between like football availability and the playoff and mixing in a gym session.
I thought maybe you wanted me to throw me off my game in the picks this week. That's all.
No, hey, I got one back on you this week. So now we're level going into the final four weeks. Although I always do throw a curveball when it comes to our weekly picks, where at the end of the season, like once we get through the regular season, we pick every conference championship game. And then I'm still debating if we want to pick every playoff game and every bowl game too.
But if he's in first after the regular season, he's not going to do that this year. He's going to
right.
What we need to do is still figure out like what does the winner get and what does the loser have to do. Like you know how like fantasy football leagues have like punishments for last place.
The loser should eat some chicken McNuggets with Dr. Pepper poured over the top.
I was actually going to say the loser should actually have to spend a weekend biking around Grubhub.
Well, at this rate, it might be Sean because he's taken a lot of swings and has missed quite a bit the last few weeks. So he went from like a 2-game lead to last place.
We will make Sean bike from Bowling Green, Kentucky to Columbia, Missouri to bring us all McDonald's.
Woof.
All right, Drew. Have a good one, man. Enjoy the Yingling.
Thank you. Well, I will.
All right. Drew King out, Cody Goodwin in. Let's just start here, man. Scale of 1 to 10. How pissed off should Missouri fans be about the college football playoff ranking?
I don't think they should. Like, if they want to be, fine. Like, I'm not going to tell you how to fan, but like they checked in at number 22. And honestly, like, I think you look at like the rankings, like they're up there on the screen right now. Like they're outside the top 20. It very clearly they have, one, a lot of work to do themselves, but then two, they're going to be, they need help, right? Like they need help. And we knew that coming into this final month of the season, that they were going to need a perfect month as well as some help along the way if they wanted to scale these rankings and make a run at the college football playoff. But 22, like, I don't know, like a scale of 1 to 10, maybe like I'll listen to a 2 or a 3, maybe, but like, I think that's probably right about where they should be, all things considered. Like you look at like clearly the committee has shown that they are taking like resume and, strength of schedule into account, how that factors into, who went 1, 2, 3, but then also you look at Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, like they've navigated the SEC pretty well. You can poke some holes in some of their arguments. I think it was Mac Rhodes said something to the effect of like the reason Ohio State got number 1 over Indiana is because of the star power on their team and like what they've put on tape, which is hilarious because you look at Indiana and it's like they're beating the doors off of everybody. Like they went to Oregon and won by 2 scores. So, all right. Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to Mizzou, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure people. I don't know. If you want to be upset, you can be upset. But like, I don't like 22 made sense to me. I think anywhere between 18 and 25 probably would have made sense to me for Mizzou, just given what their resume looks like right now, which admittedly is not very good.
I thought they would be probably 19 or 20. I don't have a huge problem with 22. Scott Fitz says can't really complain about 1 through 9. 10 through 24 is embarrassing. So look, let's go through Utah. I don't really get Utah at 13. I think that one's weird. I understand why Virginia is 14, but I don't think Virginia is a particularly good football team. I understand why they're there. They're 8-1. I don't think they're very good. I've watched them quite a few times. If you want to argue about the teams Missouri should be ahead of, I think the two teams immediately ahead of them, Iowa and Michigan. I think they have a better argument to be over Iowa. Iowa's a little weird to me. I don't know what Iowa's done to be 20.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a projection. I think somebody else in the comments was like 22.
But it's not supposed to be.
It's not supposed to be, but every human-based poll has an error, right? Like we've learned that with the AP poll multiple times this year. So it's, I don't know, like I think if Mizzou beats A&M this weekend, there will be a correction, I think, for Mizzou.
Yes.
A&M checked in at number 3. I think that makes a lot of sense. They're number 3 across the board, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. I mean, the top 5 are the same basically across the board. So there will be a correction, I think, because then it's like, okay, Mizzou, like that would be the first ranked team that Mizzou has beaten this season. It would also be the second team with currently a winning record that Mizzou will have beaten this weekend. I think that's really the biggest reason why Mizzou is as low as they are. You look at, Sam got it. No signature victories. If you look at Mizzou's schedule currently right now, they have 1 win over a team that currently has a winning record, and it's Kansas. Right. And the only reason Kansas has a winning record is because they just beat Oklahoma State, right, this past weekend to get to 5-4. Like, if that didn't happen, Mizzou doesn't have a win over a team with a winning record so far this season. So you look at Mizzou's resume, it's not great compared to some of the other ones around it, but I think you could have thrown, 18 through 25 in a bucket and pulled them out at random, and any of them I think would have made sense.
And I'll be honest, I think I think this show is mostly about giving us the top 12. I don't really think they care much who 13 through 25 is. There's a couple points that I wanted to make that have also been made in the chat, so I'm going to put them both up. Kyle McCormick says, I think they're factoring in Zollers at quarter. Mac Rhodes said it on the show. Like, Missouri's on the third string quarterback. If Missouri beats Texas A&M and Matt Zollers looks good, like, Missouri got a little bit of the Florida State Jordan Travis treatment tonight.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you went 6-2, but like, your quarterback's not here anymore. So if you were like, I think, and I understand Missouri fans are going, but he looked bad. I get it, guys. I said it too. I think Missouri might be better offensively with Matt Zollers than with Bo Pribula, but they have to show it. Now, Florida State, what killed them was they had no chance to show it. They lost Jordan Travis, and the next game was the college football playoff. Missouri has 4 games to show that they're actually better with Matt Zollers. If they do that, that will be corrected. The other thing, Shannon says 22 says we don't care if you win out, and I don't agree. And I posted this intentionally before the college football playoff rankings show started. We have to remember this is a television show. Like, every single year, what they do is they put them out for exactly this reason. So we will get on YouTube and debate it. So people will get on message boards and be mad about it. None of these rankings really matter till the end. The best example was the year that, like, TCU and Baylor played for the Big 12 title, and then they dropped them both to get the 4 teams in there that they wanted. Like, they will fix this at the end. The next, it's like the show that you're watching all year long. These crazy things are happening. And then we're going to put a bow on it and end it. And it might make you mad the way we ended it, but it's going to work out. Like, tonight's ranking, it is a television drama. It's really not any more than that.
Yeah, you look at everybody who's watched this playoff process play out, whether it's the 4-team or the 12-team, the beauty of college football is that the season tends to sort itself out through this final month of the year, right? Like, we're going to see the SEC teams start to pick each other off, right? Like, Texas and Missouri both have a bunch of elimination games, quote unquote, coming up this month. right? So that's, Ole Miss is now in the pressure cooker because now they're in position to make the playoff. Can they hang on to that, right? If they lose one more, how far does it drop them? Same thing with Alabama, Georgia. A&M, Alabama could potentially meet in the SEC championship game. How big is the loser penalized, right? Utah is interesting to me just because they really don't have a vaunted schedule remaining and they're kind of sitting on the outside. Oklahoma and Texas currently sitting on the outside of the bracket. I know they're in the top 12, but they're sitting on the outside of the bracket. So can they play their way in? The Virginia variable is interesting to me because right now they're in, but also the ACC, there's a lot of one-loss teams in the ACC. How does that play out? That it appears to me that the committee thinks the ACC is going to be a one-bid league. I think I agree. They think the Big 12 is currently a two-bid league. I'm not sure I fully agree with that. I think the one interesting thing to me about these rankings is I was very curious to see how the committee was going to view the Notre Dame-Miami situation, right? Because Miami beat them in week 1, and now they both have the same record. So it's okay, how are you going to view this? Does that week 1 result matter? Clearly, the committee does not think that week 1 result matters at all because they could both finish 10-2. Notre Dame checked in at 10, Miami's at 18. So that to me was maybe the one massive takeaway when it came to the playoff poll at large. I did think it was kind of interesting that they had to continue to rank the teams until they found a group of 5 team. That's how Memphis slipped in at number 12. They're not in the top 25, but they're the highest rated group of 5 team. So how that conference ultimately shakes out and, does one of those teams crack in and who do they steal the bid from? That's things we'll figure out later down the road. But yeah, to your point, it's a TV show. It's going to be for ratings. We're going to tune in every Tuesday as long as Mizzou keeps winning. I don't know if they lose on Saturday. Maybe you and I won't be checking in on Tuesdays anymore.
No, they lose on Saturday. They'll be out.
Yeah.
So and frankly, they should be out if they lose on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I agree because you look at that's the other interesting thing about the Mizzou dynamic is 22. Yes, if you want to feel disrespected about that, I'm not going to tell you how to fan, but their position in the poll does not matter if Mizzou does not run the table this month. That is the first step toward any sort of possible long shot playoff berth for the Tigers. They have to go 4-0. After that, we'll figure out kind of how the chips have to fall for them. But if they don't win on Saturday, it does not matter.
And if they do win, let's play this game for a minute. If they do win out, it's a win over number 3 and a win over number 12, guys. You are going to jump, I think I agree with you. Here's the number one message the committee sent tonight. Miami, you have no shot at this thing. No shot because they can't win the ACC. They're not going to get in the ACC title game. And that's their only path. Miami is done. Virginia, Louisville, Georgia Tech, cool. One of you will get in. One of you is pretty much guaranteed to get in. Although, who has a pretty realistic path to the ACC title game is Duke, who's not in this. So Duke could win the ACC and all of those ACC teams we're looking at could be out. Look, Texas Tech and BYU play that one of them is not going to be in the top 12 when we do this next week. I did see in the chat one more thing on this. I was a little surprised at the gap between Vanderbilt and Missouri. I feel like Vandy beating LSU is carrying a lot more weight than it should there. Because other than that, I don't know really what the difference between the I understand head-to-head. I am not arguing Vandy should not be ahead of Missouri. But I think 1-2 spots, kind of like Virginia beat Louisville. They're 1 spot ahead of Louisville. I could see 1 or 2 spots, but I guess a win over LSU is better than a win over Auburn or Kansas, but I don't know by how much.
I guess. And maybe they're, the road win over South Carolina is carrying a little weight. The fact that they, I don't know, look good on tape against Texas, making that, they were down 34-10 in the 4th before they stormed all the way back.
They realistically, they kind of got blown out in that game.
Yeah. No, they did. And so but that's another example of not only does Mizzou need to win out to even have a shot at this thing, but they need help, right? Vanderbilt's got to lose. Texas has to lose. You probably need Ole Miss to lose at some point as well. You need one of those Big Ten teams to fall off. Maybe Notre Dame gets picked off somewhere down the line. Oklahoma needs to, Utah, Virginia. There's a lot of help that Mizzou needs. if they want to slowly climb these standings. I think another interesting game, this has nothing to do with Mizzou, but like Iowa and Oregon, play this weekend in Iowa City. So like that'll be an interesting one. If Oregon loses, how much does Iowa jump? How much does that impact, because Iowa's got 2 losses, but one of them's out of conference. So what do they make of that? Like there's a lot of different variables here that we're going to have to pay attention to, but only if Mizzou wins out. Like that is the thing people need to remember, that like we can sit here and play what if, but if Mizzou does not win out, then none of this matters.
And like, I truly believe that all the things Missouri needs to happen, I think probably will happen. Like, I think enough teams will lose that if Missouri goes 4-0, Missouri would get in. I think the very toughest thing of all the things we're talking about, the least likely thing of all the things we're talking about, is Missouri going 4-0.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that makes sense. So it'll be interesting because you and I talked to, back in September, and you were pretty convinced that like 10-2 in the SEC gets you into the playoff. And I kind of,
I was wrong. I was
like, I don't know about that. Like maybe when the dust settles, maybe there are 4 10-2 SEC teams before the SEC championship game, and all of those guys get in, right? 10-2 or better, I guess, with A&M still undefeated and Alabama's only got 1 loss. But maybe that's just how it goes, and all those guys get in, and what you said makes sense. But I just, at this current juncture, and because there's only 8 conference games, right? And there's only a month left, and Georgia only has 2 conference games left, and then they play Georgia Tech. So, okay, that'll be an interesting game with respect to the playoff rankings. So there's just so many different variables. And like, that's the other thing that I caution people, like, in addition to like Mizzou needs to win out, there's a lot of other things that need to play out. And the college football season tells us year after year that it normally sorts itself out. So you can be angry about these rankings if you want to. Like, I'm going to sleep just fine at night. Like, it's like, they're not going to matter.
The chat has corrected me, by the way. Jordan Travis's backup did play 1 game in the ACC championship game, and they looked terrible. So it was 1 game. But
and I'm pretty sure like they went down to their 3rd string quarterback as well. Florida State did, to like eke out over Louisville in that game, and then ultimately, because that was my first year covering Alabama, and then Bama beat Georgia in the SEC title game, and they jumped from 8-4.
Right.
And Florida State just has crumbled as a program ever since.
Yeah, 100%. STLMIZ brings up. So I actually like this point. I have argued that the G5 should get a spot. Like I like the G5 getting a spot. However, here's my caveat. You got to be in the top 25. If you're not in the top 25, G5 loses a spot.
I don't hate that rule.
I like reserving a spot for the G5 if there is somebody deserving. There is not somebody deserving this year. Like Memphis lost to UAB. That should automatically kick you out of the playoff. You cannot lose to UAB and make the playoff. That should be a bylaw.
One thing that I'd like to look up, and I'm pulling up the transcript to see if Mac Rhodes, the Baylor AD, who's kind of the head of the committee this year, and he does
Missouri fans, big fans of Mac.
I read the board after the few first stories were published there. I didn't realize there was so much angst.
Well, he was here for about 14 months, and they were not particularly good months.
That's okay. I get it. There was nothing in the transcript that I could immediately find, but like, I know that the rule is if there's not a G5 team in the top 25, they continue ranking the teams until they get to their first G5 team, or at least their highest rated G5 team. So I'm curious, like, where is Memphis? Like, how far outside? Like, are they number 26? Are they number 36? Like, we don't know. So like, I know in the AP and the USA Today poll, I think they're hovering right around that 24, 25, 26. I forget immediately where they're at, but is that where they're at in the rankings for the one poll that matters? I don't know. I'd like to know where exactly they're at, how far out they are, because I like the idea of a G5 team making the playoff, but I agree with you that maybe they should be in the top 25. And honestly, like all of I know that like conference champs, like the big 4 and then the group of 5, like the big 4 conference champs are all in. But I kind of like the rule that they need to be in the top 25 if they want that automatic bid. Otherwise, you give it to the next team in line.
Yeah. Benjamin Heimer, if Drink never ran a QB trap on the goal line, where would we be? So here's why I brought this up. First of all, Bo didn't get hurt because they asked him to run. That's his game. It's fine.
I'm annoyed by this point. I'm so annoyed by this point.
Here's why I bring it up. You know where they'd be? They'd probably be ranked a little higher in these rankings. And I think they would have less of a chance to go 4-0 than they have today. I don't think Missouri's going 4-0. Let me be clear. they absolutely were not going 4-0 as previously constituted on offense. Like, that offense looked bad for 3 games. Bo, like, he just looked unsettled in the pocket, man.
That's a different conversation. One, why this point in particular really annoys me, because they ran QB trap and they beat Auburn. Okay. So like,
right.
Are you upset if Bo scores
blaming
against
the play
Vanderbilt?
call is dumb.
Right. Like, that's like, get that out of your guys' brain, right? Because it worked one game and you were happy. And so it doesn't work the next game and now you're mad at the play call. Like, it's not, the math is not mathing with me. But to your point about the Bo ran offense, I agree. I'm pretty sure it was found out. And so, like, the thing I love watching quarterbacks, whether it's at the college level or at the NFL level, is at a certain juncture of the season, there's enough tape on you that a good defensive coordinator is going to find you out, right? And so Bo, I feel like through the month of October, was found out a little bit, whether it was Alabama, whether it was South Carolina getting after him and Alabama capitalizing on it, whether it was Auburn capitalizing on whatever Alabama and South Carolina did, whether it was Vandy doing that, like, that's everything compounds. At some point, you're going to get found out. The thing I like watching about quarterbacks is, do you have a counterpunch to what defenses are doing to slow you down? I don't know that Bo really had an effective counterpunch. They were able to move the ball, but like, you could tell in the Auburn game, in the Vanderbilt game, the offense started slow and they eventually figured some things out, but it was really kind of stuck in the mud early on in the game. And so I can appreciate the fact that they made adjustments and they were able to move the ball in both of those games. But I wasn't real confident in what Bo showed us as we got further into SEC play. And I think that's what makes entering Zollers into the offense now so interesting. And just the talk about Zollers and what he brings to the offense, and just the way Drink has been talking about him, makes this really, really intriguing, because, like, okay, there's really not a lot of tape out there on him. So that's advantage Mizzou, I think. You can also say it's advantage A&M on Saturday because Zollers is still a true freshman and he's not played a grown man defense like what A&M is going to bring to Columbia this weekend. But like, at some point, Zollers is going to get found out. It's going to happen pretty early on Saturday, I would think. What's his counterpunch? Can he make those adjustments to keep Mizzou's offense moving? That's what's going to be really intriguing to me.
A couple of people in the chat pointing out Brady Cook ran that trap many times. So remind me, Cody, like, I know you remember Chase Daniel playing. Do you remember Brad Smith playing in Missouri?
Oh, yeah. That was
Okay.
That was my guy when I was in elementary school.
Like, the quarterback trap and the quarterback counter, like, that was Brad Smith's entire career. He missed 1 half in 4 years to injury. It's not the play call, guys. Like, it just isn't the play call. I was moving off the playoff and the quarterback stuff a little bit. I was struck, like, Eli Drinkwitz seemed, he was in the best mood we've seen him in on Tuesday this year. Like, he seemed happy and wanted to talk and chipper and expansive. And like, he felt like, man, I had a bye week and I'm refreshed and I really want to do this today.
Yeah, he seemed like he was in a good mood. And when Drink's in a good mood, he's fun to talk to. You can tell he's a little bit looser, which means when we get to Saturday, he knows something we don't know. So like, that also, like, okay, I'm excited to get to Saturday. Let's see what Mizzou ultimately unveils. What's that first quarter going to look like? So yeah, no, he was in a really good mood, and he was hyped up talking about Zollers. He was hyped up talking, like, he was poking fun at himself for the whole Marcel Reed thing, what happened last year before they played A&M. And then, hey, like, I want Marcel to acknowledge that I was the first on the bandwagon. Like, he was in a good mood today. I agree, which is fun when Drink's in a good mood, because one, he gives us really good quotes, but then, like, I don't know, it usually translates to something cool happens usually on Saturday. I don't know if it automatically translates to a win. I'm not going to do the press conference analysis that way, but
right.
Usually good things happen when Drink's in a good mood on Tuesday.
Here's my theory on it. I think he likes when nobody's paying attention to his team more than, like, it's not nervous, because that's insulting, but like the Alabama week, even the Auburn week, the Vandy week, he was just kind of buttoned up. Like, I don't really want to mess with this. Now he knows everybody outside his locker room has written his team off. Like, there's nobody talking about Missouri, right? I think he kind of likes it that way.
Yeah, because he doesn't have to, like, prop up the rat poison, right? Like, remember after they beat Kansas, he was like, we ain't done nothing yet, right? After they beat South Carolina, he's like, that's cool. We haven't done anything yet. Going into Alabama, he lit that fuse again. Like, hey, like they're Alabama. Look at what they've done. I know Saban's not there anymore, but they're still a really, really good team. Like, he doesn't have to do that this week because outside of us and our board, nobody's really talking about Mizzou. I agree. Like, nobody, they're number 22 in the CFP poll. Nobody's going to be paying attention to these guys. Nobody's really going to be talking. And
nobody's going to pick them.
Yeah, right. Like and so I think that probably plays a role in why he's in a good mood. I agree. And that makes it easy. Like, he doesn't have to spin the rat poison himself. He can just be like, look, guys, nobody's talking about us. Let's go out and do something cool.
Right. And by the way, I want to be fair. When I say nobody's going to pick them, I'm also probably not going to pick them. So, like, I'm not calling anyone out. Aaron Kate says the receivers should be so pumped for Saturday, except Moore won't let him. And here's why I put this. I mean, of course he's going to let Matt Zollers throw. That's the whole point of Matt Zollers being in there. But here's why I put this on the screen. I was talking to a friend earlier today. I think we find out a lot about Kirby Moore on Saturday. I think he can either prove all the talk wrong, or we might come out of this game going, maybe I think they were right that the play calling hasn't been great. Like, either way, I think we're going to find out. I think I don't want to say it's a referendum, but I think this is a big Kirby Moore game. Like, I want to see something.
This is an interesting discussion to me because like you and I both watch the Chiefs on a regular basis. Andy Reid was always viewed that he was a good coach, but he could never win the big one. And then he got Patrick Mahomes, and he's won 3 big ones in 6 years, right? Good players can make good or not good play calling, good play calling, right? Like, so I'm not saying Zollers is going to have a Patrick Mahomes effect, but like, Drink said multiple times today, he said it on Tiger Talk, he said it during the press conference with us, like Matt's arm is his biggest asset. Like, that arm talent is undeniable, the way the ball jumps off his hand. So they're going to be able to call plays with Zollers at QB that they were not able to call or didn't want to call.
Which is my point. Let's see those plays. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see an offensive coordinator that looks into this and goes, I got a different guy here now. I'm going to attack it different. Like, and I'm not saying he won't do it. I'm just saying I go into Saturday very interested in watching the Kirby Moore aspect of this game. Because I think you and I both think Kirby is better and has done a better job than the general population does. And I think that's normal. I think fans in general hate the offensive coordinator, but especially after losses. But like, this is almost like a reset for him, right? Okay. Like, my belief is this team is better quarterback play away from 8-0 and sitting exactly where Texas A&M is sitting in these rankings. I'm not saying Matt Zollers necessarily will be that better quarterback, but it is a different quarterback. I want to see how different the offense looks.
So what do you need to see from Saturday's game, from the offense, from the play calling? Like, what do you want to see to feel good moving forward, whether it's the rest of this season or whether it's just the Matt Zollers led Missouri teams into the future?
I want to see I know this is a stupid answer because it doesn't really answer the question. I want to see an offense that doesn't make everything look so hard. Like, even the good plays I watched and go, it just seemed like desperation. Like, everything seemed really hard for Missouri on offense the last 3 weeks. I want to see some open guys. I want to see some wrinkles. I want to see him. Okay, you've got a guy that the head coach just told us his arm is his thing. Let's go showcase that. I want to go see it. Now, I will also say this. The one thing that can make Kirby Moore a non-factor here is if Cassius Howell and the Texas A&M defensive line wreck Keegan Trost and Caden Green. Like, I just spent 3.5 hours on Sunday watching a quarterback who I know is good be pretty awful because he was hit on every play. So, like, if the offensive line is going to do what it did at Auburn, or frankly what it did for a lot of the Vanderbilt game, I'm not sure it matters who the quarterback is.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Especially, like, I mean, that's the other intriguing thing. Like, we don't know how Zollers plays under pressure. We don't know how he's going to play against certain types of coverages. We don't know if he even knows how to read a defense. I assume he does.
We know a little bit. I mean, not much, but Like, he came in a tough spot last week.
I thought he operated the offense pretty well, given what the game plan was, given the situation. Like, I thought he did fine, but like this, what really intrigues me is like they've had 2 weeks to basically like, hey, Matt, do you like this play? Do you like this play? Do you like this play? Bo loved these plays. Do you like them? No. Okay, we'll throw them out. Okay, Bo didn't like these plays. Do you like them? Okay, we'll add them in. Like they've had 2 weeks to get ready for this, to get Matt ready for this, and so I'm very curious. Like to your point, like what does the offense look like? What do the easy button plays look like with Matt there, and how big of a difference is he? Because like he looked fine against Vanderbilt. I agree. A&M's a totally different animal, man. Like there are some grown men on that defense that are going to be hunting him on Saturday. And so how does he handle that? How does he respond to that? He took some licks against Vanderbilt. Those licks are going to be a lot harder against A&M.
The A&M defense is gettable, though. Like, they're not elite. They lead the country in sacks, but this is not an elite defense. I mean, LSU had 24 at halftime on him, didn't they? Or something
like 18, 14?
18 at halftime. 18 at halftime.
What strikes me as interesting about this A&M team is that there's a little bit of an up and down nature to the way that they've played this year. Like they have taken care of business largely. I mean, obviously they're 8-0. It's hard to argue against an undefeated team. However, like they allowed 42 points against Arkansas and they had to maintain a 2-score lead because Arkansas was scoring not at will, but pretty regularly in the second half. The Notre Dame game, right? 41-40. They had to march down the field and give Marcel Reed his credit, doing that on the road to beat a team that's now in the top 10 of the CFP rankings. They won a rock fight against Auburn, 16-10, right? And like I think we all know that Auburn's defense is really, really good now after seeing them play Mizzou. So like there's an element of A&M where they kind of play up and down to their competition a little bit. And that struck me as super interesting. But then you go and look at it's like, okay, well, they're playing up and down their competition, but they're 8-0. And the other thing that really struck me, and I wrote it in the first look that published today online, is that we like Drink always talks about finding the winning play. Texas A&M may play a little up and down to their competition, but they continually find the winning play. They're 3-0 in 1-score games this season. Mizzou is 1-2. Like that's, I mean, you want to talk about differences. That's, if you look at the 5,000 foot view of this thing, that to me strikes is the biggest difference that I see between these two teams. A&M finds the winning play. Mizzou has found it once in 3 opportunities to win a close game.
Yeah. And Scott says we played better defensive ends already. I think I kind of agree, but like not well. I mean, not well. So offense hadn't been any good for 3 weeks, mostly. Jason's asking for an update on Brett Norfleet in availability report tomorrow night. Like there was no point even asking Drinkwitz. He was just going to say availability report comes out tomorrow night. My guess is he will be questionable this week, potentially doubtful.
My guess is questionable throughout the week. We'll find out through the availability report. However, if Norfleet comes back, great, right? Because he leads the team in touchdown receptions. I'm also kind of quietly excited to see a little bit more of Jude James. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. All right. I want to spend one question on the other side of the ball. We've talked a lot about Missouri offense versus A&M defense. Yes or no, Texas A&M will score a touchdown of longer than 50 yards in this game?
They could.
I am a strong yes in that.
They could, because like you think of what like the weakness of Mizzou's defense, we agree is the secondary, which taking the 5,000
better than I thought it was.
I think they've been better. I know that we have occasionally, and when I say we, I mean me, because I do the report cards after every game. We've been pretty tough on them at times this season, but that's also like we're going to nitpick because this team wanted to be viewed through the lens of can you get to the college football playoffs? So the secondary might be good and have great moments, but we were always going to nitpick them as being perhaps the weakness of the defense. Now, you take the weakness of the defense against the speed that A&M has on the outside with Mario Craver and KC Concepcion, 2 transfers. It would not shock. Like it takes one big play, right? Like, and the energy of a game can shift pretty quickly, right? Like I think we saw it against South Carolina. Mizzou was able to recapture the energy after giving up a couple of big pass plays. Kansas was able to hit a pretty big pass play. Alabama obviously connected on a few deep throws that, and then just a couple other throws that were just almost impossible to defend. But like the secondary is going to have their work cut out for them. And it'll be really interesting to see the secondary trying to hold up their end while the front seven tries to both contain and get after Marcel Reed. Like there's a lot of interesting, fun chess matches in this game. But yeah, I agree. Like probability is pretty high that A&M could potentially connect on a pretty big play here, just purely because of the personnel.
Right. And yeah, like Scott Fitz says, the secondary didn't let Simpson or Pavia light them up. I want to be clear. This isn't an insult to the Mizzou secondary. That's how good I think A&M's going to hit one. That's how good I think their receivers are. I think they've got the best receivers in this league. Last point, Tyler Collins, special teams will be huge. I will just say for Missouri, I hope not. Because if special teams are huge, I don't see how that's a good thing for Missouri. What you want out of special teams in this game is they're just not a fact. We just don't talk about them like they didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, and I think I will also be interested to see how comfortable can Zollers get kind of in the flow of the game early, and do they trust that kid on fourth down, right? Because once they cross midfield, how aggressive are you going to get as a play caller to try and go find points against this A&M team? Because if you continue to punt the ball to them and you give them more opportunities, like that's not exactly a winning formula, right? Like, but if Zollers gets comfortable pretty quickly and he feels good and Kirby feels good and Drink feels good, they cross the 50. I feel like it's 4-down territory from them moving on just because of what we've seen from the kicking game.
Yep. All right. Well, guys, went a little over an hour, started a little late because of the rankings and all that. Cody, we get a home game, so I'm pretty sure we will not have to cover it in a folding chair. I'm pretty sure we will not be on a plane with a bomb threat, and I'm pretty sure the meal will not be Dr. Pepper soaked chicken nuggets. So we win this weekend.
I needed to I needed to give Drew a little bit of trouble because he makes me look bad for his away game attire. Like he had the full jacket, tie, everything. Like I felt like I had to wear a collar coming on the show tonight because I'm like, I need to up my wardrobe game. Like I need to start throwing fits on Saturdays.
I don't know if you figured this out, man. We're a professional organization here, so we carry ourselves very seriously.
Dude, I got grilled hard when I wore a backwards hat during one of the games one time because I got a haircut now, so I don't need to wear a backwards hat the rest of the season anymore. And then somebody else got mad at me when I wore like a non-collared Ralph Polo shirt. I'm like, all right, I'll clean it up. My bad, guys.
Yep. All right. Shirt and coat and tie. This is formal attire. I think I still own a coat and tie. I'm not sure.
I usually save the tie for the big games. Is that what I guess this is a big, I guess all the games left are big games as long as Mizzou keeps playing, but I can whip out the jacket if you need me to.
Tie to me is a playoff.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
Yep. All right. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. Want to ask you once again, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things that help us out. More importantly than that, help James Carlton out, man. He's a friend of the show. He's my insurance agent, Drew's insurance agent, and he has been supporting us for a long time. Get in touch with James, 314-961-4800. You can also check him out online at carltoninsurance.net. So make sure to do that. A lot of stuff on the channel. We had the media day stuff from today. I will be talking to Carter Carrolls about Texas A&M on the channel tomorrow. We'll have a podcast. Cody and I will be back. Cody's got a million things to do all week long, but we'll be back here on Saturday night after the game. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see y'all next time.